Support the Amigos podcast and keep the Amiga goodness flowing for just $1 a month. Visit our page at patreon.com/AmigosPodcast.
Amiga, the first personal computer that gives you a creative edge.
Amigos, the podcast about everything Amiga. Amigos is a proud member of the Throwback Network, your home for quality retro podcasts. And now, here are your hosts, Aaron Dowdy and John Bodovkar Schaller.
Welcome to the Amigos, Everything Amiga podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm the Brent.
He's the Brent. The boat is luxuriating himself off the coast of South Carolina this week.
You know, he didn't even invite us.
He did not.
How does that make you feel?
And he has been sending back glorious pictures of him and his wife living like freaking king and queen. They're having fine times at the bars. They're on the beach. They're kicking back on the decks of stuff.
I found a nickel.
I know, man. Then the thing is, while they're out having all this fun, it's been the worst week. It's just horrible. It's been a horrible week. But today we turn things around because it's Father's Day as we record this.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Happy Father's Day.
And happy Father's Day to my pop, who's a heck of a man. And
Not mine, though. That guy's a jerk.
That's right. Well, he did raise you, so he's not a perfect, that's for sure. Today on the Amigos, we're going to take a look at the motorcycle racing game, No Second Prize.
What an incredible, awesome name.
That is a good name.
I love it.
It is a good name.
I was awesome. Yes.
You know,
No Second Prize. What an awesome name.
As you know from other shows that we may be involved in, I love cool names.
Yes.
And also, I like the people that publish this, but we'll get into that in a little moment.
Yes.
We're going to take a little time here to look briefly over what's been going on in the realm of the Amigos. We're going to start off what we do every week, which is take a catch up with our good buddy, the Dreamcatcher. Now,
yes.
The Dreamcatcher, and again, as I urge every week, please, I beseech you, check out the Dreamcatcher's YouTube channel.
He's literally 10 times better than us.
It's crazy time all the time. I mean that literally.
Yes.
The Dreamcatcher is crazy genius. And he looked at a couple games. You know, I love when he covers games that are based on movies, and he's done 2 this week.
Okay.
He's got 3 offerings we're just going to briefly touch on.
Sure.
The first one is a little something called Don't Bother to Buckle Up. You may not want to survive this. Yes, it's an article on the game Cliffhanger.
Oh.
Now, Cliffhanger, the Sylvester Stallone masterwork that was released back in the day. Have you seen Cliffhanger?
I have not seen Cliffhanger.
I saw this years ago, and I've got to say, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I've got a thing for I don't know what it is about me. I'm the same when it comes to like radio shows or documentaries or whatever. I like Arctic adventures. I just do. I don't know why.
Okay.
Because I hate the cold, and so I can understand how sucky this is to be caught at the North Pole or up on a mountain or whatever. And these are the harebrained, idiotic adventures of a musclehead caught, trying to help people up on the mountain, basically. A dopey film. And the game, I remember when it came out, I don't think I've ever played this one, but I remember when it was released, it looked not that great. It didn't have a great rep. And DK delves in this. Of course, the movie, it's like when you base those old, like you see a lot of C64 movies or games based on TV shows, and the ZX Spectrum has them too, on these cheesy movies and TV shows, and you're always, there's part of you that wants to play them because the movies are so stupid, and the game is some kind of jacked up, rushed out platform garbage.
As most of them are.
But like, for example, every once in a while, they get one right. Like, I've played Navy SEALs. Horrible film, but I played that on the Amiga. I like that game. It's actually a pretty fun game. Sometimes they get them right. So, your mileage may vary on this particular offering. Moving back down the line here. Now, this is a game I've not played before. Dreamcatcher titles this one Ain't Nothing Like the Unreal Thing. This is a look at the Amiga game Unreal. Now, I am familiar with the
PC
the
shooter.
PC, our Dreamcast. It was on every Unreal Tournament, was everywhere. But this is a wacky Amiga offering. He sort of compares it in the vein of sort of a Shadow of the Beast. And the graphics on this thing look luscious, I have to say, in terms of the way it looks. There's a lot of nice graphics in it, but I have to say I've never played this one, so this one I'm going to put on the list. It looks like my kind of game, running around with a dude with a sword, swinging on junk, they're jumping on crap, my kind of thing. So that one I'm going to definitely put in the fun to try. And then lastly, another homage, another dedicated game based on a film. This one, Judge Dredd. This
This I have seen.
And the article, I'll be the judge of that. And now Judge Dredd, I thought was a dumb film.
It was, yeah.
It was based on the comic, which I also didn't read, but it was a real popular comic book, to be honest with you. But Dreamcatcher digs deep into this one. It's another game I don't usually play crap that don't interest me in terms of the actual source. And this is another one. But I mean, people love this movie. It got me, man. I don't know. And I've often heard about people wanting to come back or whatever. And the comic was super popular. It's not my bag. You said you saw it?
I've seen the movie, yes.
What did you think?
It's garbage, but it's fun garbage.
Is it hot garbage?
No. It's fun garbage.
So we're going to have a quick look here at what we've released this week on our YouTube channel. And we've put out a few things this week that we can talk about. So let's talk about Amigathon 2018, hour 14. I'm still releasing these things, man. I've got about four.
Never has a cow been milked so thoroughly.
I got about 4 more to go. On this particular episode, we played Dyna Blaster, which is Bomberman for the uninformed, the Japanese.
I believe everyone had left by this point.
No,
right?
there were still people there.
Oh, wow.
And we also played a game called Biplane Duel. I totally forgot about this game, but it's actually a lot of fun, as I recall at the time. I'm not a big Bomberman guy, but you like some Bomberman, don't you?
The different variations of Bomberman throughout the years have ranged from really fun to kind of crappy.
Well, there you go. Someone sent me a note on this that said you could play on the Amiga versions. You could play like 10 players or some crazy thing.
Yeah,
that's wacky. So I can't imagine getting that many people interested in playing that.
How can you get that many people?
Listen, man, what are you asking me? I don't know. But people love it. Again, not Bomberman, not my bag. It's a lot of people like that Super Puzzle Fighter, and so I don't like.
Oh, that stuff's great.
I mean, it's just another thing. It's not my thing.
But
I'm not saying it's bad.
How can you get 10 people onto an Amiga?
You got
input
keyboards,
wise.
You got joysticks, you got serial ports with crap hanging out of them. You got people. I think one of the people have to just reinsert a disc over and over. You know what I mean?
No, not side 2, side 1, side 1. Right. Copy protect.
That's right. You got there's a bunch of crazy crap going on to get that many people. Another item that we put out this past week, the ZX Spectrum podcast, R. Sinclair. Do you ever watch this thing?
Occasionally.
Really?
Yeah.
We put out Checkered Flag.
I did not watch this.
Checkered Flag. Checkered Flag was the engine involved in this game was quite astounding in terms of the actual. Yeah, one thing. It's funny. Just as a sidebar on the specky here, it's amazing to me how deep these games are. They really milked this. It's the European style of gameplay stuff. They're into the real deep stuff. Now I'm not saying this is the deepest game, but I mean if you look over the library stuff that we've done. It's not like the Atari 2600, brother. This is an advanced that they really get in there and they've got a lot of stuff going on. It always blows my mind.
I will agree with that. I haven't played the Spectrum a ton.
Yeah.
But the games that I have played that are good games definitely have more going on than your typical game of the time.
Right.
So I will agree with that.
Another little ditty me and the boat put out last week, and the boat sprang this on me, everybody. Insert this too last week, Aaron's Apple Association. So Boat went to an Apple store and he got a pack of flashcards. He paid top dollar, of course, and the flashcards, they're like postcards. And on them are pictures of various Apple properties. There's an iPod, there's an iPhone, there's an AirBook. There's one of those godforsaken plastic, fantastic iMacs, the ones I'm talking about. And he held them up to me just to get my reaction. I don't know what he was expecting. just reach over, just rip them up or eat them or beat him up. I know. Hey, Boat loves that. Boat loves that stuff. So if you want to see me try to figure out what's going on, there you go. Now,
I mean, I see that every day.
yeah, no kidding. We had a show, our sister show, ARG presents ARG Prevents Entertainment. That's what we do. ARG presents. We are right now currently available for the viewing and listening audience. Pack-in games.
Yes.
And we covered
really a fun episode.
We covered the Atari 5200 and the Sega Saturn, one of the later packs of the Sega Saturn. Pretty fun. I had a good time on that one. I reintroduced myself to the large plastic tank that is the Atari 5200.
Yes.
And then lastly this week, and this was a lot of fun, I did a unboxing of the TRS-80 color computer mystery box, which I purchased from a fellow down in South Carolina, Greer, South Carolina. It's been well received and was even mentioned on the original gamer Steven Stroh Coco show. I don't know how into the Coco scene
I didn't. I have not listened to any Coco podcast.
Well, this is a video show where Steve gets a huge collection of wacky individuals and all in video. The production on this thing must be off the charts because they've all got little video pictures on the screen and they all chat. It's crazy time. They mentioned this on there, which I thought was nice.
It is nice of them.
Steven actually reached out to me, and I may be on one of their future shows as a guest. Now that I'm a Coco luminary, much like the Amiga, we played games in the Coco, and short of loading game, I don't know a whole lot more about.
You know way less about the Coco than you do the Amiga.
But I got we had a good time. I filled this table full of Amiga goodies. And I'm happy to report that Amiga Coco goodies. I'm happy to report that the Coco 3 worked. I have gotten a multi-card in for the Coco 3, and now I'm playing the crap out of some Coco 3 action.
Yeah, it looked awesome. It looked like it was in pristine condition.
I'll show it to you later. The house I've got it hooked up. It'll blow your mind. So it was a lot of fun. I think that's pretty much covers us up for the news. I'd say going forward, we'll be you'll get another. There'll be another release of a Amigathon. It'll be hour 15. But if you'll recall that we lost several hours of footage at the end of the Amigathon where the gimmick ran out. Now, I can announce, I think I'm okay to announce this, that we have set a date for Amigathon 2019.
Yes.
Now, Boat will give you all the particulars when he returns next week, because Boat's the brains of this outfit. I'm like the weather girl. I come on, little cheesecake, and then Boat comes in he's the meat and potatoes. I'm the dessert, the tasty treat. But Boat will come in with all the particulars. But we can say that the Amigathon 2019 will be July 20th.
July
2019. It gives me precious extra days for the Amigo Aaron weight loss wager. I'm still plucking along on the weight loss wager, and charities will make money any way it goes off the Amigo Aaron weight loss wager. If you want to get on that, go to everythingamiga.com and have a look at the Amigo Aaron logo. Click on that. It will take you to how you can hop in and put money down on the big guy losing some weight. And all the money goes to a great cause, Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. We make no dollar bill off this.
No.
In fact, I'd say there'll be a significant loss of dollar bill when the check comes due for the Miracle Network for old Amigo Aaron, because it was a wager. That was part of the deal. And so, but we'll see how that goes.
Have you learned something about gambling, Aaron?
I can't stop. I won't stop, as Miley Cyrus would say. So, with all that busy work out of the way.
Tied up into a nice little bow.
That's right. We're going to have a quick look here. Not quick. A deep, fulfilling look at this week's offering. No second prize. The selection committee has done it again. And they've pulled this one out of the ether. And we're going to talk about this one. So, No second prize. Have you played this one before?
I have.
And we played it at the Amigathon.
Yes.
Was it last year, 2 years ago?
I believe it was last year.
So this one I was finally familiar with one of these things. This game came out in 1992 and was on one disc, published by Thalion Entertainment. Now, I think we all know everything there is to know about Thalion. What do you know about Thalion Entertainment? I'm going to tell you.
I can't even be sure I could spell the name.
Well, they're an awesome outfit, and I'll tell you why. These are the fine folks responsible for the all-time classic, the great, possibly the best game ever released on the Amiga, Lionheart. Lionheart. They published it. Now, it was developed by them as well. Amongst the games that they worked on, aside from, of course, the awesome game, they did Dragon Flight, Seven Gates of Jambala. I got to play that. And Warp. So it might be kind of fun to play that one, too. This was. I looked up the people that worked this to see what they'd worked on in the past, which I do from time to time. This was coded by Christian Jungen. These are all names that are difficult to pronounce, of course. The people that did the graphics, the person, Thorsten Mutskjall. Is that Norwegian, you think? And
the way you pronounce it, I believe Cthulhu's outside.
Thorsten worked on some good stuff here, including Amber Moon, Neurotics, Sericon, Spherical. The music was a guy that we've heard from this guy before, Matthias Steinwasch. He did the music for Lionheart, Enough Said, Amber Moon, Misadventures of Flink, and a few others.
And this was
A320 Airbus.
So good in this as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. You also had working on this game Eric Simon. I can pronounce his name. He worked on a whole host of games from these guys: Amber Moon, Amber Star, Chamber of the Shaolin, that was kind of a neat game. Dragonflight, Enchanted Land, Last Ninja Remix, Leaving Thermos, Lionheart, of course, Seven Gates, Trek Warrior, Warp, and Wings of Death. Which didn't we have a look at? Was that the one we looked at on the Japanese computer? Was that Wings of? Oh, it was Wings of Fury.
Yeah, I was going to say no.
I was close.
No, we haven't.
I was close. This is ECS OCS, and again, it's a motorcycle game. Now, this was converted, I believe, from the Atari ST.
Yes.
So you've got an ST version of this now, and I recall these guys did a lot of ST work. So let's talk about this, Brandon. Since you have been sitting there idle most of the time, give us your thoughts, your immediate thoughts when loading up this game. And also, I'm interested to know how you played this.
Well, I played this with the Win UAE
right.
emulator, not having an Amiga of my own. I did run this on the 500 emulation.
Okay.
Because for me, on Amiga, man, you either have to play it on the 500 or the 1200. In my eyes, those are the only two options. So I went 500 to see if it could really push this much information and graphics on the slower, older system.
Right. That's the way to go.
And it was fantastic. It ran like a dream, an absolute dream. I was so impressed. I was ready for this to suck. I really was. Because I knew sort of what I was getting into. I knew it was a polygonal motorcycle racing game. And I thought to myself, as much as I love Stunt Car Racer, it is a low frame rate affair. So I kind of thought that was what I was going to be getting into with this game. And holy cow, no, quite the opposite. This thing runs at a solid 50 frames per second, and it has no hesitation. It is go, 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 speed all the way to the max.
That's true. It's funny when this game comes up. The intro for it is this: you don't know what's happening, and basically what happens is a camera follows a racer around the course in this opening thing, and it is quite a spectacular. Frontiers gets a lot of praise for its opening. This is I'm not gonna say it's equally as impressive, but it's in the ballpark in terms of the impressiveness of the opening. You've got this streaking effect that they put on the racer as he flies by, and I mean you've got to consider this is an Amiga running some pretty sophisticated three-dimensional graphics.
Yes.
And on top of everything else, you've got this.
Oh, the music is amazing.
It's funky,
Yeah.
y'all. This is not what I would expect from a racing soundtrack. It's better. It's way better because it's different. You get something like it's sort of like if Parliament did music for a porno or something. I mean, it's funky. It's funky. It's driving, but it's great.
I think to me, I thought it had a futuristic feel to it.
It was a mixture. It was a different bag,
Yeah.
you know. But I love the bass in it. It was just, It was a great tune.
It's something you crank up. You really do.
Yeah. Now the guys over at Thalion, of course, you've got a bunch of guys, and we've covered them in the past. But you got a bunch of guys that were demo coders.
Yeah.
And I believe they coded on the ST, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, we've mentioned some of the Roberts and Lionheart being probably their strongest game. So you knew these guys had the tools and the talent to get something done. Now, I don't watch any motorcycle racing, and I've only been on a motorcycle one time, and so it's not my bag. You know,
Sure.
So I was going into this, I'm like, well, motorcycles, and it's okay. But I will give them credit. They did a lot of stuff that ticked boxes for me, which I'll get into. Now, one thing you'll notice right away when you load this game, it loads up these 3D graphics. This is not PlayStation level in terms of resolution. But what you get is the track looks solid. You can tell what stuff is.
It's clean.
It's clean, and the motorcycles and the racers are drawn in an odd way, I will say, and they look like one, almost like an icon. They're very thin. There's no depth.
They look like Tron bikes.
They do. They sort of do. Yeah.
And they do not go for realism in the bikes. They do not. It is the design is certainly function over beauty. Because, like you said, the bikes are way thinner than they would ever be in real life.
Right.
And they are made up literally of a one long rectangle.
But they work. I mean, you can tell what they are.
You can tell that they're bikers.
And
I'm willing
to get past that, considering how they move.
Oh, that doesn't bother me at all. It
So-
doesn't bother me at all because it doesn't need to be hyper realistic.
So this game, once you get to the demo, you get set up to where you start looking at these options. Okay, so you've got practice mode.
Yeah.
You've got. I played that one a lot, and you've got championship mode, load and save. Look at the high scores. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff.
Yes.
So this game has 20. There are like 20 races in championship mode, and as you go through these, your score is based on where you finish.
Yes.
So if you finish in the top 3 or 4, you get points, and then if you're at the bottom, which I always was,
If you're 6, you actually get a negative point.
Right.
Yes.
So you actually. I thought that was funny that they took points away for sucking.
But it makes you try till the very end. Because, I mean, getting 5th is better than getting 6th.
Yeah. So you get to pick a rider. Okay, I like this. Now they did not pick real world people or even professional bike racers. I thought that was odd. You get because each racer, and I love this. This game does the detail work. That's one thing I love about it. So you get a little bio of the guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So for example, the first person I picked I picked this chick, French fashion designer.
Yeah.
Why? Why is she here? Why would you put her on the bike? You've got a Japanese person that runs a processor factory. They make chip manufacturing. Then you've got and this is the guy that I always played. I ended up settling on the Italian guy. He's sort of the Italian rich like snob guy. That's the guy I picked, and I'll explain why in a minute. Then you've got this British guy, and you've got a German. I did play the German a few times as well. And you've got the American guy. And the American guy plays like guitar or sax or something. He's like a rock guy. Again, why are these guys on this? Because it seems like you could get easily murdered on these tracks.
You spent far more time with the bios than I did.
I like that stuff. I like the fact that they took the time to write these wacky bios. Now, the one thing about the races, aside from their wacky bios, is that they actually they play differently because they've got different
Yeah.
stats. Some have a higher top speed, some are tighter on curves, some have can take more damage, which I don't know how that works because it seems like
Tougher
we'd all
dude.
take but the bikes was getting damaged, assumably.
Well, no,
you
the
think
player.
you say at the end of the race, if you get damaged out, your guy's all take him to the hospital, he's all mauled. Is that what
Sure,
I thought
yeah.
that was bike damage.
No, it's both. 2 meters.
Yeah. So once you've gone through here to pick this, you've got to pick your track. Now the tracks in this, there is a ton of tracks.
There is.
Now, it's funny because I was on Discord reading some people talk about this, and one of our Discord members has been on some of these tracks. Okay, he's literally raced on them. Some are near his home, and he hated the track. He said the tracks were nothing like the real tracks.
I didn't know they were supposed to be modeled after
They
real
are.
tracks.
Oh yeah, yeah. And one of the reasons I knew that is because we did a game a while back, and in fact, it was just the last Spectrum show mentioned a track that's in this game. So I was like, oh, look at that. There's a crossover in the tracks. Now, me and you don't know diddly squat about these tracks.
Not a thing.
But you've got these are real tracks and relays. And one thing I like about it is when you look at a track and you hit information, it gives you a full workup
Yeah.
on that track.
Yeah, I
It
thought that
tells
was
you
nice.
what's dangerous. It tells you how it's perceived, how you should handle it to a certain degree. And it also will tell you if there's a crap load of junk on the track, which we'll get into in a minute. And so I like that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Again, that's giving you detail instead of just sticking you out on an empty track. I thought that was cool. And also, this is all like the Infocom thing we talked about a while back. It gives you a little more food for thought when you're playing these games because they can't render everything.
Sure.
But they're like, here's what this track's like, and you're like, oh, okay. And also, you can pick, what your, you can see what the top speeds and stuff on that track were and the top lap speed stuff. So you've got something to shoot for.
If I'm not mistaken, it stays the 3 highest speeds on the track and also the highest lap speed on track. So there's multiple things you can shoot for.
So you also then get the choice of a manual or automatic. You know where I went on this. I never played a
automatic
manual
all the
because I'm
way.
no good at that. Now, from accidentally picking it once, it looks like you changed gears with the keyboard.
Yeah.
How
else would you do
That'd be
it?
tough. That'd be tough though. So then, and we haven't gotten to the cutesy part of this game, but we'll get into it now. So the next screen, you pick your mouse sensitivity. Why would you do that, Brent?
Well, to adjust mouse sensitivity, I would imagine.
Because this game is played entirely with the
Oh,
mouse.
I didn't know that's what you were going for. Sorry
Are
about that.
entirely played with the mouse. Now let's sit back and ponder this for a moment. When we first played this game, I remember we loaded it up and I had no idea what was happening. It was baffling. We played this on my old Amiga. I think at the time, we had the 500. This must have been the first year I think we played this. And of course, we had the old Amiga mouse out
And it
there.
sucked.
And it was unplayable.
Unplayable. 100%.
And now that I've got a better mouse for the Amiga, when I loaded this up, it still wasn't very good. So this is one of the few times I fully endorse and recommend emulating this game.
Okay. I understand what
If
you're saying
you've got now they've got these gimmicks, Brent, that will let you hook up a laser mouse to your Amiga, and other people have various means. There's also a gimmick where you can. I've seen this bit where you can strip out the stuff out of a tank mouse and put the guts of a laser mouse in it, and you can use that, which would be kind of neat. Whatever the way you do it, that's fine. But for me, having and I've got several Amiga mice, but I knew which one I had was the best. I cleaned it up. This game was nigh impossible with the Amiga mouse, and it's because they're old and they're beat down. I played this. I emulated this with Amiga Forever. It ran perfectly, and the laser mouse for me is the way to play. I can't imagine playing this without a proper mouse. So there's that.
And I remember playing this with your Amiga mouse, the ball mouse, and it was awful. I mean, it was like you said, it was completely unplayable. It had no sensitivity adjustment was going to matter. It was just too crappy. But on a laser mouse, through emulation, played like a dream.
Now I will say, just for fun, I tinkered with all the settings because when you're loading up the track, it gives you and which I do like this. It does this every time. It lets you change the sensitivity of your mouse. Mm-hmm. I believe it's a 1 to 5, and 3 is dead center. So I tried every sensitivity with the laser mouse, and it does make a big difference. Now, ultimately, I think I settled on 2. Okay, and the reason is if the mouse was too sensitive, it made me jumpy. I'd be all over the slightest movement will move your bike. Picture your bike like like setting straight up and down, and as you move the mouse left, the bike will tilt over and eventually lean over, depending on how far you go over. The same thing on the right. So if the sensitivity is too high, for me, the bike would go like this a lot. I remember because I'd be trying to play this game, I'd be going crazy. So I like to turn the sensitivity down a little bit. That way the bike is a little more smooth and not as jumpy and jittery and bebopping around all over the track.
I'm quite the opposite.
Really, and the thing is, I played at a higher sensitivity, and you absolutely there are advantages to playing at the higher sensitivity.
You get into the curves faster because how far you lean the bike is obviously how sharply you take the curve. Now I did a lot of tire squealing because of it, but I only moved my wrist maybe 4 or 5 degrees to get the entire movement of the bike, which was fine by me. It takes a gentle touch, but it's very, very doable.
It takes a steady hand striker. The mouse control in this is really this is the meat of it. We should spend some time here. This was a interesting design choice. We've played Hang On. And there's a few, I think motocross something on the PC I used to have when I had the Banshee card. And these motorcycle games they're pretty good. This one, but they have conventional controls. I've never played a game that controls like this. And it's funny because you would think that the mouse control would be real wacky, but it's as simple. This game at its heart is as simple a game control-wise as you can get in terms of what you do. You've got the mouse there, you've got a button for accelerate, you got a button for brake, and you're moving it, which is perfect for an automatic transmission. It's perfect. Now, but the good thing is, since it's mouse based, if you need to use the keyboard to shift gears, you've got that extra hand just sitting there. It's doing nothing, so it's no problem. So it's actually a brilliant control system.
Sure, it's very functional.
There aren't that many games that use combinations of the mouse and keyboard in an action way. The one that comes to mind is Walker. Which I know Boat hated, but I think you liked it.
I loved Walker.
I did. When we agree on it, Boat's wrong.
It was a good. Walker's a great game.
But this game, if it takes some getting used to, let's put it that way. You're not going to sit down and immediately be successful at this game, and I think they knew that, and because they do some things to make the game approachably fun and not. I did not get anywhere close to getting all the way through this game.
Oh, you mean through all the tracks?
Yeah.
No,
but I played most of the tracks, but there are tons of tracks.
Yes.
So you've got the mouse, and your race starts. Okay. When you take off, and you'll notice this right away, the other racers shoot off, and it's most that aspect
you can
of
catch
it.
them.
You can, but they shoot off at the beginning, and so that aspect is a lot like a pole position or something else, and you're off trying to catch them. It's not that tough if you're good or you're quick, and then. As you go through the game, you're going to see the racers that you need to be concerned with are
colored.
Primarily colored.
Yeah.
Then you've got like what I like to call it the dud racers, the drones, the flunkies.
Yes.
And they're just sort of a real low brown or gray. They're just out there just to be taking up space. Now, I appreciated this element of gameplay because I often would fall way behind. And so it did make me feel good if I could at least overcome one of these losers as I tried to catch up with the pack. I will say, the game to me, and I'm not a racing genius, but to me the game is balanced pretty well because I could wreck several times and still have the ability to catch up with the end of the pack to try to make some headway. And occasionally I would eke out a place. And almost always from behind. I never took off and just ran roughshod. That never happened in any game. But one of the reasons I picked the Italian guy is because his top speed was not that high. because I learned early on that I should not be allowed to have a super fast bike, because I would do what every dumb guy does and hold the accelerator down the entire time, hit those curves, and wipe out. So it helped me to pick someone with a lower top speed with better handling, better control, because I needed to help. And it does matter, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Who did you often pick and why?
The guy that had all the stats cranked all the way up except for the curves.
And why him? Just because you want to go as fast as possible?
Because I always like guys who have fast acceleration, and he had fast acceleration, fast top speed, and I figured I can handle the corners on my own.
You had a lot more confidence than I did in the corner handling. So these tracks range from kind of tough to like, good God, who would put a vehicle on this? It's insanity level. I tried some of each. I didn't get to play every single track because there's so many, but I played a lot of them. And I preferred tracks that I didn't have to do much curve negotiating on because it was so hard for me. But it's another thing that once you get the feel of it, it's a lot like any other racing game. You accelerate, you brake into the curves, you come out of the curve, accelerate again. A lot of it, track memorization will help you. I ran the first and second track so many times that eventually I understood, okay, I need to slow it down here, I need to speed up here. The good thing is this game has an on-the-screen map that shows where you're at. It shows the track. Those are I love those. And it's not something you saw all the time in this era of racing game. And I appreciate that. And since all the other races were of different colors, you could follow, you knew exactly where they were, who the leader was, because it was important as you were watching points. Oh, crap, I don't want this guy to win. And you're hoping that even if you can't win the race, that they're not going to win. So I like that element of it, too. As you go around these tracks, you will occasionally or unoccasionally have a wreck. And it often occurs when you hit another racer. That was my number one thing.
Wreck out in the curve.
Now, and I want you to talk on this here in a minute. This is where mouse sensitivity plays a big factor that I found out. Your ability to get back in the race, every time you have a wreck, you almost inevitably end up facing the wrong way.
Sure.
Because in this game, you're not really wrecking. You're just, I guess that they're simulating you hitting something and sort of sliding around the bike, like laying it down.
Right.
All right. And so your job is to get back up and get back in the race. And this isn't the kind of game where you're going to go the wrong way and try to cause wrecks. It's just not Indy 500. You want to get back in the race as quickly as possible. I noticed that when I had a mouse with a higher sensitivity, I could swing the bike back around a lot quicker and get back in the race. That's one place that having a lower sensitivity set, and as far as I could tell, it cost me valuable seconds of getting back up. And this game, I will say, it is demoralizing to have these wrecks because if you had any sort of place in a race, you're almost assuredly going to be losing a lot of space.
Well, I mean, does the higher sensitivity help on that? Yeah, because you can, the bike pegs out one way or the other as how far you can turn it. Just like a real motorcycle. You can't, lay the bike all the way down and then turn. It only swifts between, 5 or 6 different frames of animation to how far you lean the bike.
Right.
So when you're facing the wrong way or something happens, having a higher sensitivity does allow you to get to the extreme faster, which will let you get back on the track faster.
Yeah.
Now, all of that said, the downside of it is when you are passing losers, the no-name people on the track, they usually come at you in pairs and to take up more track space. So having a high sensitivity makes it very difficult to get around them because you just need to edge around to get past them but still be on the track. And if it happens on a curve or something, it makes it that much more difficult. But I think the higher sensitivity is just worth it. I felt like I had more control because I was never whipping the mouse. I was never using my arm to control the mouse. It was always wrist movement.
Well, you definitely have more precise control. That's for sure. But for me, it made it too jittery. Because one of the fun parts of this game is when you're careening down the highway here, and you've got all these guys in your way, and you could come real close to them, and you're weaving in and out. The mouse gives you an interesting feeling. It seems more realistic for some reason to me to use the mouse in this game. It really did, because you got a nice feeling of going down there, and you can make these subtle little moves And I'm sure if you're a big race nut and you know about race lanes and all this other jive that I don't pay attention to,
Right.
you can have those precise race lanes. And another thing this game will do is let you go venture off the track.
Sorta.
Well, I mean, you can.
Yeah, not in a good way.
Now, you bounce around like an idiot. It slows you down. And you're also, sometimes there's crap on the side of the road. There's trees and buildings. Another thing I kept hitting was the grandstand.
Yep.
Or, the thingy, the archways that they have on the tracks. And the thing is, when you hit those, it mauls you.
Yeah, you take a ton of damage.
Now, we haven't talked about this, but as you're not just racing against other racers, you're also trying not to destroy your bike. It's sort of a la stunt car racer.
Yes.
You've got a limited amount, although this is going to take a lot of damage. You got a limited amount of damage you can take, which means if you wreck over and over and over, that builds up. Now, different racers can take more damage than others. I know, for example, the first girl I tried, which was the fashion design chick, she couldn't take that much damage, and so I was just gone pretty quick because I had tend to ran into everything. It's funny when you're trying to get around stuff when those grants and stuff will come up on you quick. I mean, this game doesn't move slowly, and so you've got to get off the side of the road, and I mean at all costs, and you're veering back on. Yes, I'm the guy that's out in the grass a lot. I do that quite a bit.
The speed of this game is remarkable. It's by far the best aspect of the game. Now
and it ran pretty well with the 5.
Oh yeah,
I ran on the 12. And of course, I sucked, but it ran great. So let's talk about the other thing you have to worry about in the track, and these are track obstacles. It's funny. I ran a lot. Most of the time, I played this in practice mode. And so I would pick tracks way up, that you shouldn't be starting off with the real harder stuff. And the first track I played had crap loads of obstacles on it. So you've got a couple different types of stuff that could be in the race. First, you got debris, which presumably someone's bike got smashed, and it's just there's crap laid out in the track. And they haven't got around to getting it. They never get around to getting it. And the other stuff is oil on the track. Okay, if you hit these things, that I will say they look weird. It look almost like you're over landmines. The representation of the obstacles is goofy.
Abstract.
Yeah. If you hit these, you're boned. There is no. I mean, it's like hitting another bike. I mean, and the thing is, this stuff can be thrown everywhere, and so you're going. It's there to increase the difficulty, and it works. I mean, it's hard to get around some of this stuff, man. It's real tough to dodge it. So the tracks that had a ton of that stuff, they weren't my favorites. Like I went to do those over and over when I played the game. We mentioned the music. I thought the sound effects in this were pretty good.
They were okay. The engine roars and the tire squeals
were
all decently represented.
When you wreck, it's just sort of a low thud and then some wheel spinning. It's nothing major. Again, when you run these races, the lappage vary from what I can tell. Some were like 6 and some were 4.
They're too long.
I was going to say that's a problem I have with this game. I don't necessarily want to go around a track 6 times.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I want to go around it.
They were too long.
I want to go around it once or twice, maybe 3 times, but not 6. Now I know this is the strict rules of bike racing.
Most bike races are hundreds of laps.
Well,
but it's a compound thing too. The tracks themselves are of decent length, which I appreciate, but having to go around them 5 times.
They're real long. Some of them are super long.
Oh, yeah, they're decent length. But having to go around them 5 times, I was in one or two camps when I played. I was either so far ahead that it didn't matter, and the computer players might as well, the other opponents might as well not have been there, or I was so far behind it didn't matter.
Yeah.
The balance of difficulty was not there for me. I never felt challenged.
Really?
Yeah. I either never felt challenged by the computer players, or I was so far behind that I was never going to catch them.
I thought the balance was okay. I mean, I felt like, listen, we're a different type of players. You're probably way ahead on a lot of these. For me, I was often playing catch up. In fact, almost every race. But I could catch up and sometimes get a place, as opposed to getting smacked.
If I did bad on a track, I did really bad on a track.
Yeah, I would destroy most of what got me out was my bike being destroyed.
Well, and if you get to that point, you're so far behind it doesn't matter anyway.
You'd be surprised how far you can come back, though.
Not me, man.
You can come back.
If I was bad at a track, man, I never got better. I don't know why.
Something we should mention is when you get killed on one of these tracks, when your bike's damaged, you're not killed, but you're out. it makes you sit there while the race finishes in
That-
like super
yeah.
speed. So you have to watch the
I mean,
track.
you can escape out of it.
You can't. I couldn't
thankfully.
escape out of it. Wouldn't
Yeah,
let me do
you
it.
can.
I just sat there and watched them finish. It didn't take that long, but it's still wacky. Of course, you have to say. Of course, you're the loser. You're not getting
Yeah.
any points.
And
I like the championship racing aspect of it. I mean, it's pretty well done.
It's okay.
I like, of course, you get lap times and overall time, stuff like that. And you can go back. One thing you can do on the stat screens is go back through all the information that's been obtained as you've played, which is pretty cool. Of course, it'll save all your statistics and what. Overall, this game to me it comes down to, do you like the controls? You can't complain. I will say, something we should mention is when you're racing, there are some slight elevations. They do, but it's not.
It's not just flat all the time.
I would like to have seen that. I guess that's a limitation of what the engine they were using, where they didn't have a huge. But of course, maybe it's just the tracks will have these big elevations. But I kind of like that in games. Even in the ZX Spectrum game, Checkered Flag, they've got elevations that are more well rendered, I think, than they were in this. Something else this has got is an instant replay feature, which is cool. Something else that threw me off is when there's a helicopter that flies around. I thought that was pretty cool.
The helicopter follows first place. So if you're in first place, you don't get to see the helicopter. But if you're
You see it at the
coming up-
beginning, though.
Yeah, but if you come up on the people, you can see the helicopter following the lead guy. I thought that was actually pretty neat.
I want to mention that our good buddy, when I was researching this game, sure enough, and I love when this happens, when I was doing some research to find some stuff out about this game, like one of the first things that came up was on our own website. And of course, it was our good buddy, the Duncan Styles, who wrote a tremendous review of this game. I highly recommend if you go to everythingamiga.com and check it out. And he echoes a lot of what we've said. It's real good stuff. And he gets into it deep. You can tell these guys, a lot of the Europeans are really into this stuff.
Right.
So, it is what it is. So it runs great. It plays well. Apparently, the ST version is eerily similar visually. So, no big deal. I'm going to read some of the user reviews here. You pop over and grab that for me. We had a bunch of different reviews on this, which is awesome. Let me just grab a couple here. So, Chris Folds writes in, a technical marvel of a game, fast 3D vector bike action with a modern mouse control, and it controls very well. However, and this is, I knew this was going to come up, the track representations are not good. No elevation, and the actual layouts and interpretations of the real tracks are interpretations of the real tracks rather than the real tracks, which angered me beyond belief. He gave it a 6 out of 10. That was it. That killed it for him. Of course, the Dunk chimed in. Of course, he wrote the review. I love this game. I doubt you will see a faster 3D on a standard Amiga 500. I agree with that. From the opening intro, you know you're in for something special. I agree with that, too. I can forgive its track inaccuracies because it's just so well polished and so much fun. And I suspect the lack of elevation is due to coding trickery that enables this game to run so fast. I would guess that's probably right. I love this game. 9.5. Screw it. 10 out of 10, he says. The Dunk, he's down with the clown on this one. Pixels at Dawn chimes in. Amazing slick and smooth graphics, even on an A500. I can't believe how well this runs. The bike simulation is great, but I found the game a bit repetitive because other than going around the circuit as well as you can, there's no pit strategy, etc. to deal with. Fun for a while, but I couldn't play this for a whole season. 7 out of 10. That's true. There are no tinkering with the bike, that sort of stuff. This is strictly, this is arcade racer with a mouse. Our buddy Graham W. Vebke. A fast-paced racing game which plays well once you get used to the tuning mechanics. The tracks do all feel quite similar with little variation, and this affects the long-term replayability. I prefer the Atari ST version as it seems to be smoother and the music is a bit more 8-bit SID style than the Amiga, but the Amiga has better engine sound. 7 out of 10. I really like the music in this personally, but I guess that's just because I'm an Amiga guy. And finally, our good buddy Lobsterminator. This is a first impressions review. I had never played this before this week. The graphics are really smooth, my 030 at least, and the mouse controls feel great. This is the kind of game where you could take the lead and one mistake or crash can set you back to last place. That's a fact. The slow fodder opponents add a nice extra obstacle compared to more realistic racing games. From what I played, the difficulty seems challenging, but not frustrating, and I could definitely see the young me getting into this if I had played this back then. 8 out of 10. I think those are all fine reviews, and they all made some good points. So let's see how this thing reviewed in the Amiga publications.
I'm going to assume very well.
Amiga Action gave this a 91%.
Yeah.
Very good. Amiga Computing gave it a 90. Amiga Format, 80%. They weren't as fond of it. Amiga Power, 84. CU Amiga, 90. And the One gave it a 91%. And Lemon liked it a little bit more than most of these guys, although not the 8.06 out of 10. I'd say this is in terms of racing games I've played on the Amiga, we've played quite a few. The Boat 9, you've played some. Mm-hmm. I think this is nearer the top than it is the middle. It checks the boxes. A lot of fun detail. It's arcadey. It's got interesting control method, which I like. It's something you can't really play on hardly anything else. It's got great music and sound, and it's visually very impressive. So I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. Again, this reminds me of just when we play stuff like sports games that I'm not familiar with. So it's something that comes out of nowhere. This is a sport that I don't follow, I don't care about, I don't know anything about it, but they managed to make it fun. And a big chunk of that's the speed and the controls.
Well, I agree. For a racing game, this is a really high-ranking one for the Amiga. This is not something I would go back and play a lot of. And it's because of the controls. Not that the controls are bad. Mm-hmm. It's just not a way I enjoy controlling a racing game.
What would you have preferred?
For the Amiga, nothing. I like analog steering wheel controls for driving games.
Well, I mean, okay, but with that not being an option, is there? Would you rather have to use the keyboard? Or?
Yes. The mouse, I don't know. It's a very fatiguing thing to maintain such fine control, especially due to the track length, where you really have to concentrate for the whole race, and making just so fine movements. And of course, I could have turned my sensitivity down some, made it so it wasn't so precise. But I tried that to allow myself a more relaxed position while I controlled it. But then I just did poorly. Those are the times I can never catch up.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to have it super tight controls, which made it very tense while I was doing it, which meant being that tense for that many laps was very fatiguing.
I agree. And the lap thing, that not being able to set the laps, I think that's the downfall of this, because I didn't like to play that many laps. I agree.
Yep, 100%.
I think championship mode would be great if you could set the laps.
Yes.
And I know the thing is, it takes you out of that simulation thing. But listen, I just want to play some arcadey. And the thing is, there's so many tracks. Just play a couple laps per track. I know people. Yes. I know the hardcores are shaking their fists.
I know. I 100% agree.
I'm just not a hardcore. I want to go to a next track.
Yes.
And the tracks, there were big differences. I mean, and even the decor was a little bit different, but for the most part, they had some decor. It looked okay. It was okay. So, but overall, I liked it. I looked this up on eBay, Brentster. These were going for a few bucks. I found in the UK, $76, and in Italy, $111 they want for this. And in Poland, you can get a box copy with the disc that's bad, $34. So I thought that was amusing. So overall, I give this pretty high marks. And again, kudos for the speed and the ability to render that on a stock Amiga. I find that quite interesting.
Yes, that was really impressive. The speed was really impressive.
So do you want to say hi to some of the people in the chat today?
We have got a mixed crew, as always.
A mixed crew? What does that mean?
We got Loftinator X, Necronom, Picard, Honored Shadow, Duncan Styles, Graham, of course, made it to chat, Free Lunch, stopped in for a little while, Mohawk Mall, Samwise made an appearance today, and then I run out of chat room.
Wow, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good crowd here today. So with the Boatster not around, we're going to forego the singing of our national sponsors. What do you want to? You're going to sing?
No.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want to lose sponsorships.
We don't. So if you want to,
You know what I'll do?
yeah,
Just so everyone can still make a guess at what this week's song was.
okay,
I will sing 4 notes of a song.
okay.
All right.
So you're going to. This is the Brent.
This is the name that tune.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun.
Well,
That's what you get.
I don't know what that is. I'll be honest with you.
Dun 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 dun.
That's.
Can
something.
you do it, folks?
Is that a? Can you give us a hint on that?
What do you mean?
So
it's
it's
a song.
Okay,
It's
well,
a popular song.
I don't know.
Dun 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 dun.
We should re-mention a few things before we check out today.
All right.
Again, Amigo, our Amiga-thon 2019 is scheduled, and we don't have a start time yet. Boat will fill in the details, but again, it should be coming up
July
20th,
Yes.
2019. That means I have about a month left on the Amigo Aaron weight loss wager. And if you want to get in on the weight loss wager, you can go to everythingamiga.com, click on the Amigo Aaron weight loss wager picture, and it will take you to a where you can sign up, give you some details, and give you an email address. All the money for the Amigo Aaron's weight loss wager goes to the Children's Miracle Network, which will be raising money for on the Amigathon. I'm not sure the hours of that, but I'm guessing we'll probably start pretty early Eastern Standard Time, and Boat will get all that wrapped up when he gets in. Boat should be back in the saddle next week. And you'll be relegated back to the C show.
Back to the bottom, folks.
What's up? Are you happy to be back in our old Amigos studio this week?
Well, we're not in the old. Oh, you mean the
yeah, see, don't ruin the illusion, you dipstick. You set him up and he just fumbles. My God, man.
I feel like Leon Lett.
No, you had to go there, didn't you?
So, but yeah, it's I always like coming over and playing some Amiga stuff. I really don't. Amiga's not something I go to for my day-to-day emulation enjoyment.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to be introduced to a game or reintroduced to a game and get to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, Amiga's got some great stuff.
I was going to ask you if you had the emulator installed. Do you play a lot of Amiga stuff?
I don't.
No.
It's mostly I do arcade stuff for my emulation, and of course the old Nintendo, Super Nintendo, my childhood.
Now this is the 4th time we've had you sub for Boat, I believe.
It's something like that.
Now, do you recall the games that we did in the past? We did Jurassic Park,
Dark Seed.
Was there another time?
I believe that was it.
Okay, where does this rank on amongst the 3?
Well, this was definitely more fun to play than Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But Dark Seed, man, that's a tough game to beat. I think Dark Seed's probably going to be the top for a
You
long
really
while.
like Dark Seed.
I did.
And no one ever talks about that game. And so it was more fun than it had any right to be. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'd like to thank, of course, our Patreons.
Yes.
We appreciate everything you guys do, and you've paid for effectively all this equipment that we're using right now. And we appreciate it. We definitely try to use that money in a positive way that helps the show. Yep. And we've got some more stuff coming. And Bo, of course, good Lord, he's got a bunch of crazy stuff going on over there. So I'm looking forward to the Amigathon. Next week, we're going to be doing a couple public domain games, Brent. Well, you won't be, but me and the Boat will. We're doing, I believe, it's funny, I just got this information right before we came on, and I don't remember what one of them was, but I know I know we're doing 2 public domain games, so we'll just leave it at that, and we'll surprise people. Next week is another round of public domania, or as Boat likes to say, public domination, which I think that's much lamer, but that's what Boat likes to do. So, thanks for everybody in the chat for showing up and putting up with me and Brent. Some of these poor folks have put up with us for several hours now. And so we personally apologize for that. For all those daddies out there, we are recording this on Father's Day. So, hey, happy Father's Day. It's tough to be a dad, isn't it, Brent?
Hey, go do something nice for yourself. Go pick up a console or game that that you've always wanted, even if it's something modern. Have a good day today.
No Second Price is a good daddy game. Fire that thing up, sit down. That's something my dad would get into. Just go speeding around. Or, since we mentioned it, go play some Walker. Getting that sucker just blow away geeks. That's the way you do it. We will catch you guys on the flip side. And until next week, adios.